Inside the Ropes, and we're approaching the end of the year, and we've got a guy with us now who is a friend of the show. He's been on a couple of times. He's had quite a busy year with Extreme Rising. Former WWF Tag Team Champion, ECW World Champion. It's the one and only Matt Hardy. Matt, welcome back to the show.
All right, man. Good. Always good to be back.
We've had you on before, but what is it that keeps you coming back to Extreme Rising? What is it about this promotion that you're enjoying?
I'm really enjoying that they are trying to carve out their own niche, in the professional wrestling industry. Because I do think there's a niche for different types of product. Much like when someone goes to eat ice cream, there's not just a vanilla ice cream, a chocolate ice cream, a strawberry ice cream. Now there's every kind of flavor you can think of, bubble gum, cheesecake, whatever it might be. But, there is still a market, I think, for a more adult-oriented product, something a little more hardcore, a little more extreme. I don't think Extreme Rising can, say, okay, ECW shut down, we're going to pick up where they left off. It has to have its own identity. But the thing is, I think there's a market for that. And obviously the way they've drawn, there is a market for that. We were just in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, and they had a couple thousand people, and the fans were rabid. They were having a great time. And I've really enjoyed going back. I've enjoyed the environment of being able to work and not have to deal with a lot of politics. It's been real laid back. And also I enjoyed the match style time to time of being able to go out and not have to really strictly follow the rules. That's a lot of fun as a performer.
And when you were in Pittsburgh, you were in the match with Shane Douglas. And Shane's had a bit of an interesting journey this year as well, because when he started the promotion up, he had the original match that caused him to say he wasn't going to wrestle anymore. But then he decided to get back in the ring against you in Pittsburgh. How did you feel performance-wise the match went? Were you quite happy with it?
Actually, I did. I thought, considering what we had to work with, and I'm still a good guy in the majority of promotions I wrestle in, with the exception of Ring of Honor. I'm specifically kind of going in a direction to lead people a different way there, and I don't think I have to, because that's kind of what I'm catering to them too. That's kind of what they want. But as far as Extreme Rising goes, I'm pretty much a babyface. I'm a good guy. Shane Douglas is too. We were in his hometown. So considering it was an extreme night where it was like in front of bloodthirsty fans, I thought the fans got a really good, classic, old-school ECW brawl. We brought out a ladder. We brought out a chair. We had some really cool, innovative spots. We had a great brawl through the crowd. And the biggest thing personally that I was, disappointed in was that the actual finish didn't happen, because there was going to be a finish where one guy, beat the other guy. I can tell you that 110%. But towards the end of the match, I was going up the, turnbuckle to push Shane through a table, and Luke Hawx came off and pushed me very recklessly before I was even at the top rope, and I did a head first dive into the floor and knocked myself out for almost 3 minutes. I was totally unconscious. And as I woke up, when I tried to speak, I threw up, and it was really bad. I'm lucky I didn't get hurt a lot worse than I did. Fortunately, it was just head trauma, which I know that sounds crazy. It was just head trauma, but there was no long-term concussion effects or no damage to my brain, fortunately. So I thought the match was good. Could it have been better? Yes, especially if I hadn't got injured, and we would have had the finish of the match, which was going to take place after all these run-ins in an old ECW style happened and finished. The finish was going to take place, and I think that would have really blew the roof off the place if we would have got to that, but fortunately we didn't. So that's my biggest regret in the match. We didn't get to finish the entire match.
And let's talk about the injury. So, because I know that people who hadn't seen the event, if they went on the internet or whatever, they read that you had got injured. So you said that Luke had obviously shoved you off quite recklessly. Was he quite apologetic afterwards? Sort of that didn't mean to happen. How were you after it? Were you okay about it? I'm going to be very honest with you about this, because I'm not big in trying to be a big kayfaber as far as injuries go. Whenever I came to the back, I don't really remember anything until I got all the way to the back. I remember sitting up on the floor and looking in the ring, and I said, "Let me go in the ring." I said, "I don't think Shane's looking. I can roll him up." And Rebby Scott was there, and I'd already threw up on her 3 times. And she just shut me down. She said, "No, you're not going anywhere. The doctors and the medics said you can't go anywhere. That you have a concussion or you're injured." And I couldn't even see at that time. And eventually, I was there for probably 20 minutes. The ambulance came. They took me back. They examined me. I got out without going to the hospital. Then I went to the hospital the next day. when I was in the back, I know Luke Hawx came by and he was like, "Man, I'm sorry," or whatever. But that was pretty much it. And then we saw the tape the next day, and then the next thing, honestly, I saw from him was him like bragging on Twitter, just like as a heel to get heat. And I get it if that's something someone is doing, but it was a pretty serious situation, and I could have not only been killed from that, could have been a career-ending injury, and he wasn't quite as apologetic as I would have expected him to be. I guess I'll put it like that.
And if anybody wants to see that, obviously the iPay-per-view is still on WWNlive.com, but Extreme Rising are now going to be in Philly on December 29th. So just tell us a bit about that, what people can expect from seeing Extreme Rising in Philly.
Well, we're going to crown the first Extreme Rising champion there, I can tell you that right now. And it's going to be either Stevie Richards, Luke Hawx, Rhino, and who is the last competitor, or Devin Storm. It's going to be one of those four individuals, and one of them's going to be the new Extreme Rising champion. I have to say, just because I'm a fan of the guy, and I don't think he's ever been given the credit he deserves, I would love to see Stevie Richards become the Extreme Rising champion, because I think he's a hell of a worker. He's very underrated, and I would really love to see him have a run as the Extreme Rising champion. I think that would be much deserved. It'd be interesting to see Rhino have the title, just because he was the last actual ECW champion, so it'd be interesting to see him in that era and start this new era. And then, Devin Storm, once again, he's kind of been he's been off the scene for a while, but he's looked great in the matches he's been in. I think he would do great as champion. And Luke Hawx, I guess that's a possibility. He is very controversial. He's very unapologetic, and he likes to stir up trouble. So in the wrestling business, as odd as that is, it's a good thing in some ways because it gets people talking. So either way, it's going to be a very interesting deal. So there's going to be a new champion there. Myself, I went in the tournament originally because I had signed on to wrestle Shane, obviously, at the last show. And at the first show, when I competed in my debut, I wrestled Jerry Lynn, who's one of the greater ECW champions that there was in the original ECW. I defeated him. And then I was going after Shane as far as like one of the other original ECW legends that was a former world champion. And I wanted to prove my worth to the promotion by beating him. That didn't get to happen because of Luke Hawx injuring me. So my plan, I can tell you right now, and this might be a spoiler, but it's okay because I'm sure in the next few days this will be out. I want in the ring in Philly either a rematch with Shane Douglas or I want Sabu one-on-one because he's a former ECW champion as well. And I want one of those originals, and once again, I want to prove why Matt Hardy totally could have cut the mustard and why Matt Hardy totally would have fit in the original ECW.
Great, and obviously not only with Extreme Rising recently, since we last spoke, you have turned up in Ring of Honor as well. So
yeah.
How did that all come about that you come into Ring of Honor?
The Ring of Honor thing, I'll tell you, and this is a true story. I'm actually wrestling Adam Cole, who was like probably the breakout star of 2012. And Adam Cole is a television champion. I was actually doing a show, the Shane Shamrock Cup, which is the biggest show of the year for MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling. I've been buddies with those guys forever. I actually worked with them before I went to WWE. And I was at this show, and people kept coming up to me like, hey, we want you to watch this guy's match tonight. He reminds us a lot of you. He has darker hair. He's got a good physique. He's young. He works really hard. He's got a lot of passion for the business. He's got a great mind for the business. And the person that they were talking about over and over was Adam Cole. And, there was a situation where I was invited out to Ring of Honor. We talked to some people about maybe creative directions. And, that's kind of the direction we're going in right now is that, I heard all these people compare Adam Cole to me. So on December 16th in New York City at Final Battle, their big show of the year, their Starrcade, their WrestleMania, I said, let's find out, Ring of Honor fans, if Adam Cole really can live up to the hype of being a young Matt Hardy. So we're going one-on-one on December 16th.
Great. So, there's a lot going on at the moment. I just wanted to ask you as well, obviously you are someone who is so well known for tag team wrestling, with Jeff,
sure,
with the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. But tag team wrestling in the big two, as they're called, WWE and TNA, the tag team division really hasn't been that prominent in the last couple of years. What do you think of tag team wrestling now? Are you sad to see that it's not as prominent as it used to be, or are you happy with where it is?
Yeah, obviously I would love to see the tag team divisions be highlighted more on the shows. And I've said this in the past in a couple of interviews. I think until the WWE or TNA, they get their red hot story and their red hot star or white hot
story, white hot angle, their white hot star on top, that's starting to, draw record ratings for them, or at least improved ratings, that are starting to sell out more buildings consistently, until they find that singles competitor, which that's what all the companies are built around. They're looking for that face. I mean, currently John Cena is the face of WWE right now, and until they find the new Hulk Hogan, or until they find the new Stone Cold, they're going to be engulfed and they're going to be obsessed with that. And as long as they're obsessed with finding the new face of the company that is going to help the company, go to new heights, tag team wrestling is always going to be secondary, or even third or fourth down the list. And I understand that. We're very fortunate. We got an opportunity to highlight ourselves as tag team wrestlers because, Stone Cold was white hot. The Rock was, amazing at that time. DX was doing great. So tag team wrestling, these guys were taking care of them. We were selling out every night, so they were able to say, okay, well, let's invest some time into the tag team division. Now we have our top guys taken care of. And I think now, until they really have their top 2 or 3 guys and their top storylines really clicking, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they have a good grasp on these people that are going to sell out shows and do great TV records and good pay-per-view numbers, tag team wrestling is still going to be an afterthought. And it's sad, and I hate it, but it's just the fact, and it's the state of the game.
And do you think that, obviously WWE have pushed John Cena for the last however many years? Do you think it's kind of, do you think they're going to get to a point where they are going to think, right, this guy's not really cutting it like Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan, and we're going to have to go with someone else? Or do you think he's going to continue to be that top guy for a little while longer?
No, I mean, I think John is, just because John lives and breathes WWE. He really is. He is WWE through and through. He bleeds it. I mean, if he has to be on the road 365 days a year, he will. And his merchandise sales are unbelievable. And it's great because John Cena has the demographic of the kids or the young girls. He just can't get the adult male audience. I honestly believe the best thing he could do would be to become a heel now. I think if John Cena became a bad guy, sure, there would be a hit in his merchandise as far as kids go and as far as young girls go. But I think the short-term effects would be worth it because of the long-term gains. I think much like when Hogan turned and joined the NWO, his career was reborn, and it totally recreated his character, and it made him hotter than he'd been in 10 or 15 years. And I think you could see the same thing with John Cena. I think if he did that and he was willing to give way to his very goody two-shoe image, and he could win back some of the adult fans, I think he could contain them and retain that audience as he moves forward, even back to being a good guy again.
And also, when you were in the WWF with the Hardy Boys, and obviously with Rita, the women's wrestling was pushed a lot more than it is now. Do you think that the reason that women's wrestling maybe isn't as focused and prominent as it was before is to do with the women back then being so much stronger characters, or do you think that the women now just aren't being pushed enough?
No, I think there's still some really good women competitors out there. I mean, and on the road, my girlfriend wrestles Rebby Scott, and she's doing a hell of a job. And there's a lot of really talented girls she runs into, and the talented women are out there. It's just, once again, WWE not utilizing them. I mean, they're not going to take a women's division more serious than a tag team division. As I explained before, they're not going to take a tag team division serious until they feel like they're totally in control of what they have at the very top of the food chain. So it's a shame, too, and it's one of those things. There are really good women out there, and I think women can totally be draws. There's no doubt in my mind that they can be draws, and they can work, and people will buy tickets to see women. But once again, you have to really highlight them, and you have to take time out to say, okay, let's take care of our women in this. You can't just throw 2 girls out there and say, okay, well, you got 9 seconds, go do it, and we really don't care what happens. I mean, if you do that and you have that mentality of we really don't care about you guys, that's the same mentality the fans are going to have.
And obviously, we've spoken about where wrestling is right now, and we've spoken about you being at Extreme Rising and Ring of Honor. But one of the guys who's kind of had a great 2012 is Ryback in the WWE. I just kind of wondered, what are your thoughts on him? Have you had much of a chance to see what he can do? What do you think of him?
I think they had done an amazing job of establishing Ryback and really getting the people to connect with Ryback. As far as Ryback having longer, more competitive matches that
which will eventually be a necessity, obviously, if you're going to be a player, because The Rock could have great matches and Stone Cold could have great matches. Shawn Michaels, in my opinion, was the greatest of all time. He could have great matches. If Ryback can do that and then follow through and still, retain his character and still retain that, retain that fan base he has, and yeah, I mean, it's a good project. He's definitely, he's definitely the breakout of 2012. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because they took a guy that, over the last couple of years really hadn't been doing anything, and they really made him into something special, and the people have really connected with him. So kudos to the WWE for doing that, and congratulations to him for getting in that position. Hopefully he can continue to grow as a performer.
And just finally, Matt, we're approaching the end of 2012. What are your goals in 2013?
I mean, my goal first and foremost right now is just to be healthy and happy, and right now I really am, and I'm very fulfilled with the things we're doing. I really, maybe earlier in my life, I kind of tried to carve out a specific plan, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to get there, and I really don't do that now. I try and enjoy each day for what it's worth, and I really enjoy every step of the way, and I try and, as opposed to planning out the trip, I just try and enjoy the trip and kind of let it, lead me where it will go. As the old saying goes, que sera, sera. What will be, will be. So I just want to enjoy myself. I want to have fun. I love traveling with my girlfriend, the beautiful Revy Sky right now. So I do in 2013. I want to get over there to see you guys. I want to get over to the UK. I want to get over to Europe at some point. And I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, and I want to be as healthy as I can be. I want to be in good shape, and I want to have fun. And wherever the journey leads me, we'll see there.
And we hope to see you over here in the UK. So just to clarify, if everyone wants to check out the December 29th event in Philly, they can go to extremereunion.net. If they want to watch the pay-per-view replay of the Pittsburgh event from November, then they can go to www.live.com and find it all on there. So Matt, thank you so much for joining us again. Hopefully we'll get to speak to you again in 2013.
You got it. One thing I was certainly going to say was make sure to get all the updates about the Extreme Rising events and the Ring of Honor events and everything else that is Matt Hardy at matthardybrand.com, which is my official website. And all my social media links are off there. You can follow me at twitter.com/MattHardyBrand, youtube.com/MattHardyBrand. And importantly, I have to say this due to my contract with my website. This whole segment has been sponsored by shopmatthardy.com, where you can get all your Matt Hardy merchandise.
Now that is a plug that Michael Cole would be proud of. So.
There you have it.